Were you surprised by the reaction to the M340i? Because I know for a fact that you didn't expect so much of demand. I was surprised by how close the M2 is to the M5.
Well, we don't compare with them. I mean, we try to provide our cars to our customers at the price point that we feel that they would want it to be. The biggest seller EV now in this year is i7. Because I don't think we say we compromise. I mean, I'm sure most of your viewers will agree with that. Do we compromise with things? We don't. We want it all.
Do you have ambitions to be number one in the luxury car business in India?
We grow the market first and then absolutely own that market.
Welcome to the Evo India podcast and a special edition of Boss Talks from the Buddh International Circuit. We have with us the president of BMW Group India, Vikram Pawah. Vikram, thank you for being on the podcast. Thank you for having us here at the M Town, where we are sampling a whole range of M's, the M2, the M4, the M5, the M340i, the Z4. So we've had a lot of fun at the track. Vikram was also in our group driving. But now we've had lunch.
Yep.
It's time now to talk about BMW in India.
Absolutely.
And let's start with BMW M, because we are here at M Town. We've been driving these M's. How is BMW M doing in India?
So thanks, Sirish, for having me. And thank you for joining the event today, the M Town event. I think, like you said, it's been a fantastic morning, perfect weather. So M for me is, what we really say is that it's an emotion, right? It's an emotion which is the core of BMW, right? Because we say the core of BMW is joy. And what better joy can you get with such beautiful cars on a track on such a beautiful day, right? So M for us is a defining element of our brand. And I think the more we get people exposed to M, we see that they understand the real value of a BMW compared to anyone else. And I think we were having this chat earlier, right? That very few brands can talk about this thing, that you can be luxury and motorsports at the same time. And as brand BMW, we can depict those two characters in one go. I think you did the M5 today, right? And you could see that how a luxurious sedan with motorsports quality can actually blend together seamlessly.
Seriously. And one thing that you said in the morning that really struck, where you said that your M range starts with a six-cylinder.
Yes, it does. Absolutely, it does. And I think that's what it's all about. It's not about just the technology that goes in the car. It's about how you package the car. I think it's the driving dynamics, it's the capability of handling the corners. All those things go in making a M car. But of course, M cars are still the more powerful, right? Because you can these days combine it with turbos, you can combine it with hybrids and electric range, which you've seen, to give that real boost and torque that we really love. And be environmentally conscious as well at the same time.
Definitely. So the M340i, now when you first launched it, it was just immediately after COVID. I loved it. I thought it was such a sweet product, not very shouty, but perfect blend of power, performance, grip. You can also play around with it. Were you surprised by the reaction to the M340i? Because I know for a fact that you didn't expect so much of demand.
Well, we knew there was a clear community who really wanted, and I still remember, meeting all those people on this track itself quite a few years back, around 5 or 6 years back, where they're talking about, I really want to get my journey started with the M, but I don't know where to start, right? I'm too not ready for getting into the M2 or the M3 right straight away, but I want something that I can use as a daily car, but take it on a track or enjoy that corners the way I love it with the M. So when we got the M340i into India, we knew that a lot of people will attach to it. Yes, what surprised us was the speed they attached with it. So really, I must thank, all those 1,000 customers now, right? We have 1,000 people in the M340i community. Thank you for choosing this. Thank you for making it a community. And I can tell you, they're the most active community in India right now.
Yeah, because these are true enthusiasts. They know their cars. Obviously, they can't stretch to an M2. And there are people who can stretch to an M2, but they realize that that's such a sweet spot. A daily driver that can also be fun on a track.
Absolutely.
And now with your update, you also got adaptive dampers.
Yes.
So where we said that, yeah, it's a little bit on the stiffer side. That's also being addressed. Is comfort a big, selling point with these cars?
No, I think the versatility is a selling point. So you need to be able to be versatile, that you are able to adopt this on a weekly condition as well. While going to office, you should still feel you got a powerful car, but comfortable. And then when on a weekend, if you want to take it for a spin, you should be able to feel it like a race car as well. So I think that for me is M340i's start of an end journey for a customer. And we've seen that. So now after selling these 1,000 cars over 3 years, we've seen people who initially adopted when we launched the car they're now looking at M2s, M3s to migrate upwards. Okay, once you get used to AM,
So this
nothing else can satisfy you. You know that, right?
And of course, pricing is a critical factor in that. That's assembled in India, so you have the benefit of the customs duty. So that's a big driver, is it not?
Of course, from a value proposition, it is. And I still say that that's still the fastest ICE car manufactured in India. So we're proud to still keep it that way. And that's why we made sure that we were making it in India, because we knew that, if we brought it as a CBU, then it's in the same category as M2s and M3s. So it doesn't become a start of your M journey, but the journey is just beginning. Let's see what else we do with this.
So you obviously mentioned that fastest ICE car. We'll talk about EVs in a bit. We'll also talk about something that we share in common. We'll talk about that
in the end,
in a bit. But let's talk about EVs later. With the M2, that's one step up.
Yeah.
When it first came, the M2 competition, you didn't bring the manual. And that's despite us journalists saying that bring the manual, bring the manual.
Yeah.
And the reaction from your customers was that they also wanted the manual. Now you have a manual in the M2. What do your customers say about it?
They love it. They absolutely love it. No doubt about that. But what we're seeing is the equivalent level of people still wanting the automatic as well, right? So everybody doesn't want to go a manual. And I think it's got to do with maybe the driving habits or what your main driving characteristics are. I still love a manual. I mentioned that to you in the morning that I love to take it on a racetrack.
Yes.
That's where you can really test a manual. But what we've also seen is a lot of people breaking the gearboxes on such tracks as well. So giving an option was the right thing. And I think this is the first manual we brought into India, if you look at it that way. Maybe not the last, but let's see. But the point is that we will offer to our customer as the community evolves. And I think when we launched the M2 long time back, you're talking about, right, the community was still small. Since then, we have grown a lot. We've been growing the M business year after year. We're having record after record. So I think that's the good sign. And for me, now the community is reaching that stage where there are drives happening, there are events happening. And that's why this M-Town events is not only for journalists, but just to let everybody know that we had almost 120 people go through this here in 3 days. So the customers are driving as well, and they're absolutely loving it.
Yeah. And in case you missed it, Vikram did say that it won't be the last. So we're going to hold you to that.
Well, I didn't say. I said, let's see what happens.
Okay.
You never say never for anything, right?
Yeah. So the M2 with the manual, again, it's a very entertaining car.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to you after driving these cars that I was surprised by how close the M2 is to the M5.
In terms of the handling and the speed as well.
The small package, much lighter, playful. You can really have a blast with it. But the M5, I was blown away. I thought, no, 2.5 tons, too heavy, not suitable for the track. But then when you drive it here, and that's the key thing with these cars, you can look at the specs, you can comment on the styling, you can say what you want. But once you put your bum on that seat and once you let go on the track, that's when you realize what this car can do.
That's exactly, I mean, you hit the nail on the head this way, that clearly, yes, you're right. Reading the spec is not going to give you a feel of the car. A car is an emotional thing, all right? Unless you drive it and drive it in such conditions, you'll not be able to know its capabilities. And I think you've seen it, the M5, yeah, more weight, of course, but much, much better than the previous version, right? In terms of handling, in terms of torque, in terms of speed, right? The top speed as well is much better. Okay, maybe yes, the technology is different and people doubted that, how can you combine electric with a traditional engine and still give that end feeling? I think we've proven everybody wrong again, right? We did that with EVs as well. We're dealing with the hybrids as well now. And I think for us, one thing is very clear. The BMW will always be a BMW, no matter what technology.
Yeah. And the best part about the M5, which you didn't talk about, is the pricing. Considering where the market is
talk about it.
And where your rivals are, the M5, so when you're planning the story, our whole story was going to be around how it's become too heavy and answering those questions. But now who cares about those questions? Because you still have a V8, you haven't downsized your engine, and you've got the pricing right. You've got the pricing on the level of a car which is one segment lower from your rivals.
Well, we don't compare with them. I mean, we try to provide our cars to our customers at the price point that we feel that they would want it to be. Right, so we never index ourselves with any competition normally, but I'm happy that that kind of feedback is coming, because that's what the teams try to do all the time. Find that sweet spot where customers will say, "Yep, that's good value." We know in India, value matters.
Exactly, it's not cheap that matters; it's value that matters.
Absolutely. So it's the package. You can see it's a fully loaded car as well. It's not something that's not loaded, so you can always bring the price down by reviewing some specs or features. We don't do that. We provide a package and a value, and I think that's why we're successful with these cars.
So have deliveries of the M5 started in India?
Just about to.
Okay.
Just about to.
And you have big plans for the M5?
Well, M5 has always been a kind of a category definer. Of course, we're not saying big volumes, given the price points and everything else, irrespective of that. But the point is that it still defines the M segment, and I think it's a good portion of our M sales.
And in the M, it's still the sedans that are ruling the roost.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you see SUVs overtaking anytime
Well,
soon?
we had. If you saw that we had X6M, we had X5M earlier in our portfolio. We've tried with the X3 M40i as well. Yeah, but I mean, finally, I think the characteristic, what people are looking for here is, of course, lower seating, feeling the road, right? That's when you really enjoy M car. The X6M and X5M, and I've driven them in off-road as well. That's beautiful, right? Maybe as the community evolves and finds more and more areas to experience this in off-road environment, I'll see SUVs picking up as well.
So let's double down on the community.
Yeah.
A big part of buying a sports car is also being part of the community.
Absolutely.
Going out for drives with your mates who have similar cars or maybe even regular sports cars. What are you doing for the community? If somebody buys an M, what do they get?
So, I mean, that's what we do. We do these kind of events in town for them, number one. And number two, we also try to see how we can engage them locally through our dealer network as well. So, not only these big M towns did to do, if you see a couple of years ago, we did local M town events in women towns as well. So we used to call it, let's paint the road town N.
Okay.
And that's what you'll do. So we'll send an entire fleet there for people to trial it out, to come and talk about N, train them about safe driving as well and things like that. And now we're evolving it towards more digital means as well. Over a period of time, you'll see us working towards getting all these communities together on a digital piece as well.
Yeah. In terms of your dealer network, now you're rolling out your new corporate identity amongst your dealer network, which are like much larger showrooms where you have all the different verticals under it. Talk us through that.
Well, so first of all, it's not a corporate identity. It's a change of game here, right?
Okay.
Corporate identity is you just change the logo, you change the colors, and that's all it is. This is a well thought of strategy where customer and brand is put at center of this whole thing, right? So the entire retail experience needs to be evolved towards the customer and the interaction with the brand. It's not about just showcasing products anymore. So we got 4-pillar strategy behind this. So we have changed the design of our showrooms. We've changed the tools that we use in the showroom, tools in terms of the interaction tools between the customer and the brand and the product. We've changed the processes, right? How the customer treatment and the journey takes place. And we also changed the roles within the dealership as well. So it's an entire revamp of the way you look at retail. And I think it's purely coming out from how the customer is evolving. How not only luxury space, I would say, as such, how the new Indian customer is evolving. I think they're becoming more discerning. They want more experience. They want more connect. They actually want to spend more time in leisurely way, right? It's not just what used to be earlier, get in, get out. Right? It's more about, no, I want to engage. I want to be able to attach. I want to be able to relate with this brand. And I think if you've been to our showrooms, you would have seen that it's more about living spaces now. It's not about cars in a stockyard. It's more about living spaces, and cars just happen to be around the corner. That's it. So you tend to spend time with people and with technology and with the product there, you're able to make your decisions much easier, or any other transaction that you want to do.
So like your customers can come and just hang out in your...
We are absolutely doing that. There's a nice coffee there. There's a nice menu for coffee as well. You could come down, spend time, talk about cars. The people who come with friends when discussing cars as well, because it's more about, okay, let's, irrespective of whether you will buy or not, let's spend some time inside the showroom. So it's a destination now.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Where all are you rolling this? I believe you already have Bombay.
No, we've already done 6 of them already in the country now, including Bangalore we have, Mumbai we have, in Delhi, Gurgaon, Delhi NCR we have done as well. A few in upcountry towns like Agra and Ludhiana also we have done. But all our dealerships will transform into this new setup by 2026.
What's your network like?
So we have total 80 touch points,
Okay.
right, in 35 cities at the moment. So, and we're expanding at the same time. So we'll make sure all these points, 80 touch points get transformed into this new format.
Is it still important in this digital age to have a physical showroom?
I think so.
Why?
So because for me, like you spoke about, at least I can talk about my brand. I won't talk as such from an industry perspective, but BMW is a brand about emotions, brand about passion. I don't think you can do that emotion and passion online. Like we were talking earlier, that you can't really judge a car by its specs. You have to judge it by its character. And character is not something that you can do in a virtual world. You can do only in a physical world.
Is it also a fact that for us Indians, a car is still a very emotional purchase?
Absolutely.
Doing it over the phone removes that layer of connection, that emotional aspect to it.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at it, for us, it's one of our biggest purchase decision, right? We say that it's after schooling, after job, house, car.
Yes.
So it's the number 4, really, right? It's not like number 10 or 12 in your list of priorities. So from that perspective, we lay a lot of importance, and we see that, people coming into showroom for delivery with their families and friends. We offer home delivery as well, right? We do that all the time, and we say, if you want, we'll deliver your car at your home at your convenience. You can have a party around your place, we'll deck it up and everything else. People say, no. For this is the biggest moment of our life. I want to come into the showroom and do it. And because of these need itself, we have created a dedicated delivery areas in these new formats, which is absolutely in line with what people are expecting as their biggest, what we call as moment of truth in their customer journey, and we make it momentous for them actually.
And this is BMW M, Mini,
Everything. So as long as the dealership has all these brands, they're all sit under one roof. So gone are those days of separate, identities and separate look and feel. It's one look, one feel. You come inside and the brands merge together. And I think that's what we were talking about in the morning as well, that not many brands can give that kind of a variety to a customer. From a M car to a BMW car to a EV to a Mini, which is again a niche.
and an M bike.
And an M bike and a normal small bike as well. So it's an entire area of delivering joy. Let me put it that way.
So let's talk about Mini.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Mini is also getting more electric cars in the portfolio. How is Mini doing in the country?
Well, Mini has been growing. I mean, if you look at it year on year, we've grown. Absolutely. I mean, of course, this year is what we call as a transition year, because we are switching off the old generation and introducing the new generation one after the other. So we've introduced 2 models of the new generation, the Cooper S and the new Countryman E.
Yeah.
In a fully electric format. And for me, Mini has always been a trendsetter, right? So when you talk about trend setting, this is where people were adopting to electric much easier. So we launched the first Cooper SC a couple of years ago, and the adoption rate was almost 40% of our total sales, which is fantastic. I don't think many brands can talk about that much of penetration in EV. And we are proving that as long as you're offering a good package and maintaining the character of the car, right? So you don't dilute in any way, because again, one of those things that people keep on talking about all the time is that at the moment you move to EVs, you're going to dilute that entire feel of the car. But I think we've proven again, people wrong with the Countryman E. It still drives like a good old biddy. It still has that go-kart feeling. Of course, I can't give you the vibrations, unfortunately, right? I can't give you the sound exactly, but
Which is going on downstairs.
Yeah. So you can always come here and do a bit of M tracks sometimes, and then still enjoy your Mini on your daily basis. So it's doing well, it's growing. And as we introduce more and more products, you'll see it'll grow again. Yeah.
So with your electric cars in the BMW portfolio, you're doing things differently from other brands. For you, you've got one car, which you can get with petrol, you can get with diesel, and you can get with an electric powertrain.
Yeah.
What was the global strategy behind that?
I think we started the strategy maybe around, I think, just prior to COVID, actually, if you remember, we actually declared that although the whole world is predicting that there will be only one technology, we said, no, we don't think so, because the world is a diversified, space. It is not something, it's one-dimensional, it's multi-dimensional. And we said very clearly at that point of time that we'll have the power of choice with the customer. So we'll be technological agnostic. We'll invest in every technology. We'll invest in the ICE, we'll invest in the EVs, we'll invest in the hybrids, we'll invest in the hydrogen. And that's what we've been doing since then. And I think it's paying back, absolutely. We can look at it worldwide. We're absolute leaders, right? We're leaders in EVs, I mean, if you look at the premium space, nobody's even near us. Actually, if I look at it, probably we sell more cars combined than maybe a couple of our competition. Worldwide, right? And similar thing was in India as well, it still is from that perspective. So clearly shows that if you're able to have a very focused strategy with keeping the DNA, again, coming back to that point that you need to maintain your DNA. And I think for that, that's why the strategy of having the entire, drivetrains on a single platform works. Because why should somebody compromise if they're choosing an EV? Or why should somebody compromise if they're choosing an ICE, right? They should be able to choose depending on their use cases, right? If you're using for city use, at the moment, that's what EV is mainly for, is intra-city and very short distance intercity travels, if that is your use case, EV is the absolute choice for you. And I think you're proving that with the i7. The biggest seller EV now in this year is i7. We've delivered
In that segment or the biggest seller?
for us, it's the biggest selling EV.
The i7
i7
is the biggest selling
EV for this year,
Wow.
right? Okay, there you go. That proves the point, right? That it's not about a price point. It's not about whether people will adopt to EV. I mean, who could imagine this a couple of years ago, right? Right. So
Not me.
So we sold more than 600 units of i7s.
600 i7s. Wow.
Since we launched it, we've sold over 1,000 iXs.
Okay.
Those are not small numbers now we're talking, right? So these are big numbers. And i7 our penetration ratio. So if you're selling 100 i7s overall, 35 to 40 of them are electric. That's how good it is. So it clearly shows that people appreciate this, right? That okay, the electric is giving me the same value that I was looking for, and I'm doing it in an environment friendly.
Yeah. So at the start of this podcast, I said that we share something in common. What is your daily driver with
i7? i7.
What is my daily driver?
i7, of course. See, so 2 out of 2.
So our long-termer, the Evo India fleet, our long-termer is the i7. I'm using the i7. When Abhay Dange, who's your head of communications, he called and said that I have the iX1, I have the i7. What would you like? So first I was like, okay, maybe the iX1 because smaller car. And then I said, no, if you be offered an i7, you have to be mad to say no to it. Of course, I've not sat in the back. I drive myself. And to drive, it's fantastic.
Phenomenal.
It is the best electric car that is sold in the country today.
It is.
It's got power. It's got luxury. It's got enough range.
Yeah.
So I do Pune, Mumbai, park the car at the airport, do like a 2-day overseas trip
for you. Yeah.
the cars at the airport back. I went to drive the Rolls-Royce, the Series 2 Ghost in France. I parked the car at the airport. I came back and I'm saying this in all honesty, the i7 doesn't feel like, it doesn't question your life choices after spending 3 days driving Rolls-Royces. Then you jump into an i7. You don't feel shortchanged, of course. You don't say like, shit, man, I should have been still driving the...
Out of the same group, remember?
It is the same
Battle group. BMW Rolls-Royce.
And the chief engineer of the 7 Series was the former chief engineer of the Ghost line.
Absolutely.
So it's astonishing how good it is. All the features, the luxury, that's one thing. But just the way it drives. We say that electric cars are like a washing machine. But a i7, it actually is... It's excellent. And for a luxury car, I don't think you really want to hear so much of the engine. Of course, there are times when you want to hear the engine, but an electric powertrain fits so well in a luxury car scheme of things. It's quiet. It doesn't make no vibration, no nothing. That sense of calmness
is much better.
Peace.
Yeah, you're right. And this is exactly, people asked me when we started with the electric journey, when was this, 3 years ago, when we said that we'll be bold. We'll create the electric market. I think you were there as well when we launched the initial iX for that time in 2022. I think we launched it. So everybody was like, I don't think India is a market for electric, right? Because the first perception people say that it's not a developed country. It will not happen. And for me, it was no. India people are looking for luxury, right? We advertise so much about zero cabin noise, right? Zero wind noise coming into the cabin, right? Absolute quietness. You got all these noise cancellation technologies that you introduce in the car to make it really quiet, vibration-free, and fun. Electric does that automatically, like you notice yourself. So I think it was the obvious choice. And also the usage characteristics in India, I think that define it as well. We've got multiple cars, we have a parking spot, we're not dependent on public charging, we provide our own charger. So it's the ease of, using electric car that's making it absolutely fit. And I think this will only grow. So it's not only in the high-end segment that we're talking about, about 1 crore, I'm seeing the same thing happening with the iX1 as well. No, absolutely the same thing.
Yeah. But the truth of the matter also is that electric cars are under a lot of stress. There is a lot of negative conversation around it. And one of the biggest stumbling blocks, at least what I see when we talk to people, is that the resale is a big question mark. People say that, okay, I buy a car today, it works well for my use case scenario, but after 3 years, what do we get back? And the resale value is a big talking point in the country. How do you address that?
So we address it by 2 ways. One is that we offer solutions to customer where the risk is not with them, right? So our finance products actually give them a guaranteed future value. So when they're signing up for the car, when they're buying it, they know exactly what the value will be, right? Let's say if the value happens to be higher in the market, when they want to get away and get into the new car, they can always pay us back only that value and sell it in the market. If the value is lower in the market, there's no risk to them. They just come and return the car to us, no questions asked. Absolutely. So I think from that perspective, any new technology will have these concerns. I mean, the electric is not the first new technology that is being introduced in the world, right? You had computers, we had laptops, we had tablets, we had phones, smartphones, so many new technologies. If you look at it over the history of mankind have been introduced, and every new technology came with these questions. Will it be durable? Will it be reliable? Will I be able to, if it's a resellable one, will I be able to resell it? Will I be able to get some value out of it? So I think this is a part of evolution. As more and more people will adopt to electric, as there is enough mass or critical mass that is created, you'll see the resale values going up as well.
Do you see resistance to electrification?
In premium, no. But I think in general perception, you're right, in the market, which I would say is not wrong, because if I look at the mass segment, right, if a person doesn't have a parking spot, if you're parking on street, right, or in front of your house, right, you're dependent on public charging. And if the public charging network doesn't develop at the speed at which the cars are getting adopted, then of course there will be dissonance that they are not able to use the car, which has not been the case with us, like I said, because we provide a private charging setup for our customers. You can choose, either we'll install it at your house or your office, whatever your choice of preference is. And now we know we've delivered 2,500 cars to now. So all these 2,500 customers, we can actually capture their usage characteristics, because our cars are connected now. So I'm not talking about we can track an individual person, but on an aggregate level, we can see that, what is 7 Series doing, what is, iX1 doing, and what is RX doing. We can see that people are using it roughly 45 to 50 kilometers a day. They're charging 4 to 5 times a month. That's it. And mostly in their home or office. So not dependent on anywhere. And even when we look at it, that it's not even a habit that you're charging when it's at 20%. It's just that you're just charging as a habit once a week, which we advise them not to, because as any other battery, I mean, and all our customers know from their phones, right? The batteries, you need to allow it to drain a little bit, then bring them back up. Don't go all the way to 100%. Go to 80, 90%. That's good enough. I think those habits will form with time, and the confidence will develop.
Yeah. In any case, your cars have their fail-safe, so you can limit the charge to 80% on the car. So
same as their phones. Same as their phones now. I mean, if you look at it, your phone, you can set up that charge only till 95 or 90%, if I want it to be.
So what are you doing to change the perception around electrics?
So one is the physical part, right? So the first stage we did was, we provide your own private charging network. We make sure that all our dealers across 35 cities have got really fast chargers. So 50 kilowatt fast chargers, we're talking about 12 kilowatts, 20 kilowatts, really 50 kilowatt fast chargers, which are accessible to you 24 hours a day, right? So if you're traveling from, let's say, you go to Pune, you come to Bombay, you say, okay, now maybe I did a little bit more speeding that I should have. Obviously, you should not, but let's say if you ended up doing that and the battery drained a little bit faster than that, there's a dealership in Andheri, you just go there, put the car there, have a coffee, and you're charged up. So that was the second stage. Now we are working on creating our own charging network. So I'm really happy to say that we got now almost 300 destination chargers across the country. On top of our fast chargers that we had, right? So we got 300 more, and now we're also going to introduce very soon a e-routing facility.
Okay. And what is that?
So basically, if you're saying, you want to go from point A to point B, you put it in your navigation. So it will show you the best routes, which will have the chargers in there as well.
Okay.
So you have this peace of mind that, I'm not worried now that, where will I stop? I don't have to go and search anywhere else. And we're onboarding more and more chargers onto that e-routing facility. So we'll probably have up to 1,000 by end of this year across the country. And we intend to take it up to 5,000 very soon as well. So once the customer has that in front of them, I think that will give them some peace of mind that, I'm going there, I know that, and I know there are these many chargers. And if I need a charging thing, I can divert into this route. And you know exactly how long it will take you to get there as well.
And fact of the matter is, if you have 350, 400 kilometers of real world range, in India, you cannot drive 350 kilometers, 400 kilometers non-stop. You have to stop, you have to take a break, you have to take a leak at the very least, if not have a meal. and say over 40 minutes to charge it, and then again you have enough charge and a jet period.
To get top up 100 kilometers on a normal charger, let's say even an AC charger, it'll take you what, 20-25 minutes. Yeah.
So the 300 destination chargers, those are what, at hotels,
At hotels, golf clubs, resorts, maybe public places where people travel to with families, or even corporate parks. So we're just trying to identify, where people travel normally. What do they travel for, right? And airport, we haven't been able to track as yet, but at some point maybe that may happen as well, because it's a little bit more complicated than just any other space. But basically trying to see the use and behavior of our customers and trying to make sure that we are there in all of those places.
And these are BMW branded chargers?
These are BMW branded chargers, absolutely. At the moment, they're AC chargers, because we had to start with something. We said, okay, because getting a DC load capacity done at every spot may be more complicated. So these are BMW Mini branded, BMW Group branded AC chargers. And that gives them the assurance as well that, okay, BMW is not just leaving us alone, but we make it open for everyone. That's the difference.
Okay, so
it's not only for BMW, it's to evolve the EV ecosystem. That's the whole idea. And our charger is also visible on all other apps as well now. Yeah.
And I must point out, the BIC also has a BMW branded charger.
It does, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was part of the first one we put it actually.
Yeah. So that way, even if you come to the track with, say, a plug-in hybrid, you can juice it up here and you got like full power to go around the track.
And that's what we've been doing all day actually while we've been changing over refueling cars.
Yeah.
At the same time, we charge the plug-in hybrids as well,
Yeah.
which you can again use on the track. Yeah. So it works best. Yeah.
So with the EVs, where do you see the market progressing to? Do you have like a target for 2030 where 50% of your fleet is going to be electric?
See, this is again, we don't put targets like this because it all depends on customer preferences, how it evolves. And that's why we said we have all the options available. We are flexible. We can produce either one of them and make it available for our customers. But yes, from a direction point of view, I clearly see, you should be at 30% level at least by 2030.
Okay.
If everything goes all right.
Okay.
I think in terms of what we are doing, the product range is there. And we continue to add on more and more products in that range, absolutely, because we made a promise that every price point, a customer should be able to choose between a traditional and a new technology.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they should be able to do. So we surely will achieve that by 2030, no doubt about that. But let's see how the other things evolve around the place, how the rest of the market behaves. But we've got a good plan, and I hope everybody else joins into that bandwagon as well.
There's a lot of talk around hybrids in India. Where do you see that going?
See, again, every technology should have a purpose behind it, right? So it should not be that the technology derives your decision. Your purpose should derive your decision. What I can see, government's agenda of going carbon neutral, right? The commitment that they have, hybrid is not going to get us there, right? It may save us some fuel, absolutely, you're right. It may have some environmental benefits. I'm not saying not zero, but it doesn't get you the carbon neutrality. For carbon neutrality, you need to be bold. And I think that's why I really like it, the way government treats EVs, because they know that leads to carbon neutrality, right? I mean, we still have a lot of hydropower. A lot of countries don't have that. A lot of countries don't have green power. We were traditionally a hydropower country. Yes, we can debate about the usage and the losses, etc. in that, but irrespective, we are still much better off than the rest of the country. So I think I was reading in one of the recent reports that came out is per capita CO2. I think India is the lowest now. So it's heading towards its carbon neutrality technically if you look at it. So from that perspective, we should adopt more and more EVs. And when hydrogen comes, I mean, it's still far off, but for long distances, for maybe, things like long haul travel, for buses, for trucks, absolutely, hydrogen will lead to that carbon neutrality as well.
What do you see the government needing to do, or what do you want the government to do to promote EVs even more?
I think they're already doing that. I think the GST clear benefit, which allows customers, which I can say from our brand perspective, that the customer is able to choose between those two technologies, a traditional and a EV, at the same price point, right? So I think they should maintain that clearly, because I think it takes a while for any new technology to evolve. So they should have a long-term plan to keep it that way, because the moment you switch it off, it may turn backwards. Till the time, so we had to wait till the time the battery cost and the technology evolves enough to come at a real good price point with a good scale. I think that's still far away from, if you look at it. Even if you take 30% penetration level across the industry by 2030, still is not enough scale. to create that kind of a thing. So it needs a longer term thinking there. What my request to the government is to have a central policy on the registration tax as well.
Yeah, because the states keep flip-flopping.
Yeah, switch on, off. Delhi was the latest one. Telangana you saw as well lately as well changing. And I think that confuses people a lot, unfortunately. Right? They want to adopt a EV, but I think then the demand gets skewed unnecessarily. And that might not lead us to that consistent adoption of EV and carbon neutrality. So even though from a central perspective we are heading towards that, but maybe on ground, it may get blocked up. So that will be my request, that let's be a little bit more consistent. I think this is where a clear example where the industry and the government can work together. Absolutely, because it's in all our interest to go for carbon neutrality in the end.
Yeah, obviously with the pollution and everything. So
you saw that. Yeah, you saw that today. I mean, luckily we have got a good day today here in Noida, but normally in this season it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
pretty bad.
So with the 5 Series, now you have the i5, which we actually drove at the track on the autocross section. I think the i5 is really nice. You also have the 5 Series long wheelbase. Now, I've always been a 5 Series fan. Okay, I hope not too many people will lynch me for
right from
the beginning. I've always been a 5 Series fan for the simple reason that it's just a little bit sportier than its rivals. The others do luxury, in my opinion, slightly better. But BMW, the 5 Series, always been nicer to drive, a little bit more playful. You can always switch off VSP completely. You can always take full control of the car. The engines have always been powerful, always been grunty. With the long wheelbase 5 Series, and this is my opinion, you've kind of gone away from the core ethos of the 5, which was that fun to drive, the sheer driving pleasure, joy that you keep talking about, and focused more on the person sitting at the back, the guy, woman sitting at the back.
I won't agree with that, Sirish, because I would say that, I love the 5 as well, and I've driven it all my life as well. And when I drove the DU5 long wheelbase, even before we brought it into India, because that was my point as well, that we will never dilute the driving dynamics of our cars ever. And it drove beautiful still, right? Still being a longer car, but it still drives beautiful. It's nimble enough still. I mean, similar to what we were talking about, the M5, right? It's heavier, but still nimble enough and still achieves the same results what we asked for. And I don't think we have diluted it anywhere. I think it's again a spec thing. And I think maybe you should have taken that audit track today and you would have seen it absolutely drives beautiful audit track as well, because when we tested audit track first, actually, before even making a decision to break it. But we had to be realistic about Indian customers as well, who are, if you look at it, you're probably one of the unique ones who drive on your own. Most of our customers during the week are being driven around, with their busy lives, going to office,
and the mess on a road, the traffic being what it is.
So everybody will have a chauffeur or a driver, whatever you call them, right? Will have that. So you want that luxury at the back as well. You want that relaxation at the back during the week, but then you want to sit in the front and put your kids at the back or your dog or whatever, and you go on a spin on a weekend. You want that balance as well. So I think it's a well-balanced package product. And for me, this is the reason we chose long wheelbase, is that why should a person has to choose and compromise one thing or the other? Why can't they have it all? In India, nowadays, I don't think we say we compromise. I'm sure most of your viewers will agree with that. Do we compromise with things? We don't. We want it all, right? So when we want it all, if I can package it in a way that you get both, isn't that better? Aren't we progressing in the better direction then? And that's what we're trying to create.
It's a good thing we journalists are there to push back against this, because I firmly believe that the 5 Series has lost some of its edge in terms of the sportiness. Even though the engine, of course, the sounds are synthesized, but for a 4-cylinder engine, it really moves. It makes all the right noises.
It does.
So for me, a small bit of it is missing.
Maybe I understand. Maybe you're not going to corner at 160 kilometers an hour. That's the difference, maybe.
But I understand where you're coming from, because our cities are getting more and more congested with here. Sometimes even I get sick and tired of driving in the city because you're just stuck in traffic. There is no
Pune is
racing madness. So it's frustrating. There's road rage, so you might as well sit at the back and finish off some work. So I'm completely on board with that. But my question to you is that, is it too much of a production nightmare to get the regular wheelbase and the long wheelbase?
I think it's not about a production nightmare. It's also about making sure people are able to get what they're looking for, right? So, for example, in 3 Series, we have the M340i and the 3 long wheelbase, right? Because we could see in that segment, people were looking for that, right? If you look at it in 5, we've always seen people using it as a corporate sedan or executive sedan. Right? Not as a sportier. Maybe for us, petrol heads, absolutely all right. I mean, for us, every car needs to be like that. Right? Even the 7 needs to be in the M format, right? That's a mini. So that's a different thing. But I'm talking about most of our customers really who buy a 5 Series say that, I want an executive sedan. I want the peppiness, of course. Like I said, maybe the difference is that, you're not going to corner at 160 kilometers an hour anymore, but you still do it at 120. I think for Indian condition, that's still peppy enough, I would say, right? I haven't seen many people being able to do that because our roads don't allow it, right? So from that perspective, that balance was the right one based on our research. It said that even if you offer the short wheelbase, let's say, okay, they're not going to be too many takers. Okay. And that's why we got the i5. I mean, that's the reason we got the i5, because that's again a clear example of, you can actually deliver an M experience in an electric. And I think you drove that today.
Yeah, and it is actually very close to your earlier M5 competition.
Absolutely it is. Right? And the driving behavior is exactly the same. The nimbleness, the weight, other than the torque, and the sound, that's it. Everything else is replica of it. So that's what we try to do with our products, and you'll see that more and more in our products, that as we evolve, the technologies will change, the features will change, but the core or the basic intent of the product will remain same, all this.
You have headroom to get the 540i in a regular wheelbase? No comments. Why don't you have the diesel yet in the 5 Series?
I think what we are seeing is in those cars, it's sedans especially, we're seeing diesel depleting a lot.
It's reducing, but it's still a big chunk, is it not?
So sometimes you have to also see that, again, look at the future, what will happen. These sedans, as the sedans are much lower than SUVs, right? I'm saying overall market. For us, it's a good balance too. But overall market, you can clearly see the SUVs are going much faster than sedan. So when it becomes smaller and smaller, I think people will end up choosing either electrics or petrols. Okay, I see more that happening in India than anywhere else probably, and that's what my prognosis would be, is that he adopted diesel not for the torque. He adopted diesel because of the cost.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. There's no cost advantage diesel anymore, right? There isn't. So still there are a few people who are going maybe for the torque.
But your i5 is still 1.2 crores.
Yeah, because it's a CDU.
Yeah, so there is a significant cost gap.
Of course there is at the moment. But I think we had to launch in a sensible way. We decided, okay, we'll launch it with the petrol until we could see the trend changing. And honestly, the feedback we got is absolutely right.
Yeah.
They're not saying that.
Should I drill down on what you said at the moment?
You can drill down, but the answers will still be sorry. I've got nothing to share with you, Suresh.
But you see diesels being completely
No, in certain segments. I'm not saying all across. See, again, you said that you'll not be a technology agnostic at all, right? So, but I'm saying you have to also pick up the trends in certain segments how are happening, If you look at entry-level SUVs also, diesels is not a big thing, right? But if I look at 7 Series, or if I look at X7, diesel is still good. So it depends on the segments, I think, where people are adapting to, So I feel that every segment will behave different. But let's see. The jury is still out there, so let's see how it evolves.
You're going to bring the X3. You had that one gap in your portfolio, which is also a volume generator in this luxury business. So you're going to finally plug that in.
Absolutely.
Excited about that?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's a fantastic product. I think you've seen the reviews. I think you'll be seeing the car as well, right? So you've done the drive. I think will absolutely hit the market in a great way and stir up some things, I'm sure.
Petrol and diesel in that?
Again, no comments.
No comments.
We also share these details when we launch, actually, right? So, absolutely, yeah.
Vikram, overall picture, macro scenario of the luxury car business in India. Where do you see it progressing? A couple of years back, maybe 10 years back, we always said that, no, India is going to be the next China. We all know that India is not going to be the next China.
I never said that, and I still don't say it. So, yeah. I think, it has to grow. It has to grow, and it is time it starts going in a faster pace than it is today. And I think last couple of years have been very encouraging. And I'm happy that, I remember when I started in 2017, I made a very big claim at that point in time that I'm interested in growing this segment. I can clearly see that happening. I think I've seen that with the X1 that we launched, 2 years ago, absolutely expanding the segment. We're seeing people coming, almost 67% of people coming as a first premium car, right? Which wasn't the case 10 years ago, right? So that journey has started, but I think the pace needs to pick up. Economy is strong, fundamentals are absolutely strong, and I think consumers' confidence is absolutely back. We have got stable government, We have stable policies from a geopolitical point of view. We are in a good space. Let's put it that way. The new India, the new customers are consuming in a different way as well. That's very evident. Absolutely evident. Not only in auto category, I think in every category, if you look at it, the younger generation is absolutely consuming in a different way, and they're yet to come into the work space, right? So there's still 56% of people who are below 35. 35 is when consumption kicks in, and I expect over the next 5 years, all this generation dividend will deliver, not only for us, but also for many other industries for sure. So clearly we'll climb up in a very fast pace, but I'll still say, China is a different thing. They were at a different demographic level in 2010 when it started off, and we are at a different demographic level, but we'll have a longer growth path, that's for sure.
Okay.
And a very long sustainable one compared to any other country.
Have we reached that inflection point?
The signs are very clear we have.
Okay.
The signs are very clear that we have. If you look at it either from, like I said, from a consumer behavior point of view, from a consumption pattern point of view, from a preference point of view. And also, I think after COVID, it's actually multiplied, only things saying that, like I said, I don't compromise. I need it all. Why should I do it anymore? Right? And few more things need to happen in the economy. Like I always say that, you got to stop thinking about this thing that you have to tax luxury. No, it's not luxury anymore. This is basics now. This kind of safety, this kind of environmental thing. And of course, I'm with you. M cars, yeah, keep it that way. No problem. That is luxury. That is joy. That's a pure, optional thing that you can take. But a luxury car or a premium car is these days a normal thing. It's not something that, that you can't purchase. Our customers can absolutely purchase it, right? And add to the more economic value of the country.
So is that your request to the government that
Please, yeah, let's look at how we can remove the cess and make everything equal for everyone.
So then you also must be excited about the EU FTA. The talk has been going on for years, but looks like things are progressing.
Let's see. Again, it takes a long time for these things to evolve, but for us, we are committed to India. So we're already producing in India. 95% of what we sell is actually produced in India. So I don't see as a huge benefit for us. It might benefit some other players maybe, but I think finally people, again, the Indian population that is evolving now is looking at Make in India in a very different way. For them, that is important.
And last question to you, Vikram. Do you have ambitions to be number one in the luxury car business in India?
I want to grow the market first and then absolutely own that market.
Okay, so you do have.
Of course. But
you
after growing the market, own that market. Absolutely.
Do you have a time frame for it?
Okay. No. We work towards it.
Anyway, thank you, Vikram. Thank you for taking time out, and all the best with the rest of the M-Town afternoon and evening. Look forward to driving the M5 on the road.
Yeah.
You've really whetted our appetite doing these 5-6 laps over here, and now to drive it on the road. It'll be
really interesting on traffic conditions. You'll love it. I've done that, right? And it really, really behaves well. So it looks like a normal car in traffic, which is perfect. Right?
Lovely. So thank you, Vikram.
Thank you, Sirish.
Thank you for being on the podcast, and thank you for listening and watching. If you have any more questions about BMW's operations in India, drop it in the comments. We will get back to you. We will ask Vikram and his team. If you know something, we'll obviously reply in the comments. And of course, give us a like, share this video with like-minded enthusiasts, and let us know what do you want to know about the Indian luxury car business. Let us know in the comments. And thank you for watching and listening.